Hi guys. So now let us look at another problem. So the name of this problem is called valid parenthesis. Okay. So valid parenthesis. Okay. So what does this problem state? So valid parenthesis is a problem in which you have to find if a sequence of these parenthesis is valid or not. So how can you define if it's a valid? So let us look at this sequence. So we have an opening brace and a closing brace. So they both are complementing each other. So we can say this is a valid one. And let us say a flower brace and a closing flower brace. So this has an opening part and a closing part. So this is also a valid one. But now look at this. If it is like this, do you think it is still valid? Yes, it's still valid because for this opening brace we have an immediate corresponding closing brace. For this opening brace we have an immediate corresponding closing brace. So this is still valid. Okay. And now look at something like this. Is this a valid one? Is this a valid one? Okay, we have an opening brace, we have a closing brace, but in between we have another opening brace, and for this opening brace this closing brace is not the right match, so this is not a valid one. So how can we write an algorithm that can correctly identify if a sequence of parentheses is valid or invalid? Okay, for this we have to use a data structure called as stack. Let's use a stack. So this is our stack. Now what? Now let's say this is sequence that we got. Flower base, regular one, this and this. Okay, so how are we going to use a stack and process this string and say if this is valid or invalid? Okay, let us iterate through this iteration. Okay, now I'm here. So what am I saying? I'm saying an opening brace. So if you say an opening brace, just push it onto the stack. Okay, now this is a my stack. Okay, now move to the next one. What do I have? I have another opening brace of a different type. Okay, it doesn't matter, you still push it onto the stack. Okay, now I have two of them. Now what do you have? I have a closing brace. Okay, if you encounter a closing brace, what do you have to do? You have to see what the top of the stack is pointing to. So the top of the stack is pointing to an opening a circular brace or an opening parenthesis, to be precise. So what do I have? I have a closing parenthesis. Are they both a match? You can write a condition for that and you can say they both are a match, so it's valid. If it's valid, uh, so you're going to keep iterating and you're going to remove, or you're going to pop out this from the stack, so this thing doesn't exist now. So this is now our new top. So now the new processing item is closing brace. So closing brace, okay. If okay, I got a closing brace. So do we have an opening brace at the top of a stack? Yes, we have an opening brace at the top of a stack. Are they both a match? Yes, they are a match. So yes, we got it. So there is no problem. I'm also going to pop this. Now the stack is empty as it is pointing to -1. Okay. So now the stack is empty, and is the string completely processed? Yes, because we have explored all of the characters. And now the final conclusion can be given by looking at the stack. Is the stack empty? Yes, the stack is empty. So we can say that this sequence is a valid one. But what would happen if it's not a right sequence, if it's not a valid sequence? How would the stack look like? So let us add, we have something like another, like this kind of brace. Okay, if this is the case, this is not a valid one. So how can we prove that? Okay, now let's start iterating. We see an opening brace. I'm going to push it onto the stack. Okay, I have it on the stack. Now I'm moving here. Now I have a square brace. I will push it onto the stack. And now I have an opening parenthesis. I'm going to push it onto the stack. Now this is my top. Okay, now I have a closing parenthesis, and I'm going to look at the top of my stack. I have an opening parenthesis and I'm closing a closing parenthesis. At the match it's valid, yes it's valid. So keep on iterating and pop the top of the stack. Okay, now this is a new top. Now what I got a closing one, a closing parenthesis. And what do I have at the top of the stack? It is an open square bracket. Are they a match? No, you're gonna say it's invalid. Now let's look at another case as well, where only the last element is the mismatch. So let's take, okay, let us say we have something like this. Okay, let's something like this. So this is not a valid string. So what happens when we process this? The same same thing. We have this. We will push it onto the stack, and then we'll process this. And then we'll process this. We'll push it onto the stack, and then we'll process this, and so we'll pop it, and then when we get to this, we will push it onto the stack. So now the string is completely traversed, but still we have an element in the stack. The stack is not empty. So we can say if the stack is not empty, then it's not a valid sequence of parentheses. So going with theory, now let's look at how we can write code for this. So let's take the input from the user itself. Let's keep both of them intact. Okay, so it's not integer, so we don't need to create a list. We can just say maybe dot split to create a character array. Right. Okay, so what are we doing firstly? So firstly we need to define a stack. So let's say stack. So stack is just a list. So initially the stack is empty. Okay, now so what are we doing? We're iterating through the input sequence. So let us say this is the input. Let us say this is the sequence. Okay, so we want to iterate through the sequence for a character, ch in this sequence. We're going to check if the character is an opening brace, or if this character is an opening parenthesis, or okay, let's I mean we can say we can use the square bracket as well. So the character is an opening square bracket. What we're gonna do? We have to just push it onto the stack. So we're gonna say stack dot. We don't have push method, so we will use the append. So we're going to append that character onto the stack. Okay. So now what we're gonna do? So if it's not the case, we got, if we have the character is a closing case, or the character is closing parenthesis, or the character is a closing square brace, then what we have to do? We have to check what is on the top of the stack. So how can we know what is on the top of the stack? So since we're using the stack is just a list, we can say, so we can use the feature of negative indexing in say the negative index, the index -1 is going to keep track of the last element inside the list, which is the top of the stack. So we're going to say DOS top of the stack is equal to stack of -1. So we have the top of the stack, and we're going to check if top of the stack is equal to top of the stack is equal to a closing brace. We have to write correspondingly. So instead of going for all this kind of braces, let me just write initially just for opening parenthesis and closing parenthesis to kind of make it easy for us. So this is mine. So we have the top of the stack. If the top of the stack is equal to the opening parenthesis, then we can say we have a match. Then we can say stack.pop. You can just pop the element. So it will pop the last element, so it's fine. So we're going to pop the element, but if it is not, so if the top of the stack is not an opening brace character, then we have a problem. So we have to break, or we have to print invalid here itself, and just break out of the loop because we have found an illegal sequence. So it doesn't matter what the rest of the stack holds, right? So after writing this code, I think this is all that we need to write. We need to cover in each case. So let's run this. Also, so if we have processed all of the stack after the for loop, and at the end we see that the length of the stack is 0. The length of the stack is 0. It means the stack is empty. If the stack is empty, that is, so it indicates that all the elements are processed and everything is in the sequence. So we're going to print the sequence is a valid sequence. So let us run this. Okay, there was a small syntax error, I think. Probably an indentation here. We actually forgot something, that there is no else if in Python. We only have else. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, let's run this and see what happens. So we have to give an input. I like a prompt. Enter this. Okay, let's stop the program and let's enter our prompt. Okay, enter the sequence. Okay, wrong. So the sequence that I'm giving is this. Is it a valid? It is valid. Okay, A is not defined. Where did I use? Okay, it's actually sequence. Well, let's run this again. So this is my sequence. Is it valid? It's saying it's valid. Let's give another sequence like this, Is it valid? Still valid. Okay, let's give the sequence and nested. Do you think it's valid? It is still valid because for here we do have a pair of parentheses which is valid, and again we do have another pair outside which is also valid. So this makes it valid. So let's see. Yes, it's valid. Now let's give something